One of the most common questions that I was asked as a clothier is how can I take care of my dress shirts when they get sweat stains on the neck and under the arms and things like this? What can I do to salvage them? What can I do to take care of them? The answer is a little bit more complicated than you think. This is going to be a part of my Dressing the Young Professional series. It should stand on its own as far as the information it provides, but if you are interested in this sort of material, there are two more in this series before this one, so I recommend you go check those out. But let's discuss shirts. So the first thing to note when wearing dress shirts is that even if you do not wear dress shirts very often, you are always going to need more of them than you think you do. Because even if you can take care of them perfectly, even if you maintain the fabric with like different stain removers and bleach and this sort of thing, the collar is still eventually going to get frayed, and the cuffs are still also going to eventually get frayed, especially if you wear a watch often. The way to do this, the way to preserve the life of each shirt that you have over time, is to just have more of them. The shirt is one of the most important pieces of your wardrobe because it is generally going to be the thing that is closest to your body. It is going to be generally the thing that endures the most movement and therefore receives the most wear. So the best way that you can protect them all is to have a healthy rotation. Another thing to note is that there are going to be different dress shirts that you'll want to wear depending on the season and the temperature. So for example, these two are a pinpoint fabric. So that means that it's a bit more of a smoother fabric. Typically, these can be worn year-round. These are also pure cotton. I typically suggest going with more natural fibers, whether that's cotton or linen or blends. I do have a few that are synthetic blends, but for my comfort, and maybe this is just a personal thing, of course, always go according to what makes you the most comfortable and makes you feel the best. But I tend to prefer natural fiber or natural fiber and synthetic blends, and I don't typically go for purely synthetic shirts, especially since it's close to my skin. But anyhow, but we also have these two lighter ones. This is a poplin, which is like a special type of cotton blend. You can see that it's a little bit more see-through and a little bit lighter weight. And of course we have the very popular linen that is a great wear during the summertime. So another reason that you're going to want to have a large shirt rotation is to improve the variety of looks that you can have, because you're going to want different collar styles for different events. There are a whole bunch of different ones that we could discuss here, but for today, I'm going to limit it to the three that are seen in stores the most often. This first one is called a point collar, named so because it literally points straight down the placket. This is commonly considered to be a more formal level of shirt, meant to be worn with suits. At least that's what the common fashion meta seems to think. I think, especially with a tattersall pattern like this, or a stripe like they often have, this is perfectly fine to be worn with a suit or a sport coat, either one. A lot of people think that this looks best with a tie, especially in a, a good symmetrical knot like the full Windsor here, but because this sits like this, I also think that this is perfectly acceptable to be worn open collar, and might even be one of the better choices for open collar, because when the collar is open, the points just sit right there on the collarbones instead of flaring out. But here's the point collar. The most popular style of shirt collar by far, at least at the time that this video was made, was this spread collar here. So where the point went straight down the placket, the spread is much more open. And the spread is a great option for suits, sport coats, and casual wear all. It looks terrific with a tie, especially with a big old full Windsor in there to fill up the empty space, or it can be worn just as well open collar. There's one more that I'll show you. The last type of shirt that we will talk about is the so aptly literally named button down, because of the buttons that are on the collar there. Now, this is also quite popular, but it's much more popular now to be worn casually. You can still wear this with a sport coat or even a suit. I have worn button-down collar shirts with suits before, but only in an attempt to sort of dress them down, or because they had a pattern that I really wanted to work with or something like this. The button-down is unique in that it does not require collar stays like a spread collar or point collar shirt would. That's those in there, and there are all kinds of nice collar stays you can get. You can get these plastic ones, or you can get really nice metal ones, but they keep the collar straight for you. With the button-down shirt, it attaches automatically. So, to sum up, you are going to need a lot of dress shirts because they are close to your body, and you will need a wider rotation of them because they go through the most wear and they will need the most care. And you're also going to need a variety of dress shirts for different occasions in order to match the occasion and match your aesthetic. Thanks a whole lot for watching. Hopefully this was beneficial to somebody. If you like this stuff, we've got a whole bunch more on the way.